Hey there, Jeff here, and today we're going to go over the basic tools you'll need to get your business running and scaling online quickly, easily, and affordably.
You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You know you could.
What's up, Jeff here, coming to you from the home studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. So it's no secret that almost every business is moving online these days, and even if they already have a strong presence on the internet, the current climate has forced many businesses to double down on their online efforts. Even the more traditional offline sectors like education and events have been forced to make a sharp pivot, reinventing their entire structure to fit an online medium. And while some would say the results have been mixed, a lot of people who haven't really had to worry about all of this tech in the past have suddenly had to learn to adapt pretty quickly and are doing the best they can with limited time to navigate all of these new and unexpected technical challenges. Chances are you're either caught up in making this shift as well, like a lot of other people, or maybe you saw where the tide was going even before being forced to operate completely online and had the foresight to start preparing yourself with the tools and skills to continue conducting your business on the internet. But regardless of whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro who's been doing this for a while, one thing is for sure. There are a few tools out there you're going to need in order to get your business off the ground and keep it in the air. Trying to cobble all of this technology together while staying on top of the latest marketing trends and strategies, and of course, keeping yourself focused on the product or service you're promoting in the first place can certainly cause quite a bit of stress and frustration, to say the least. So with that, we're going to cover some of the basic tools you'll need that can make a difference between succeeding online and a slow death for your business. Obviously, there are a ton more tools you might want to consider adding to your tech stack, but this is what you'll need at the very least to get yourself up and running. So let's just start right off the bat with the big 10,000-pound gorilla: social media. Pretty much everyone has a presence of some kind on one or more of the major social networks these days. It's not uncommon for someone to have multiple profiles or pages across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and even YouTube if the content is video-based. Regardless of whether you're on one social media channel or if you're showing up everywhere, the point of all of these platforms is to connect with other people, either on a personal level or with your business. Those who've really mastered social media have a way of gracefully doing both by creating personal connections with their audience while building a tribe of fans and followers who buy everything they offer and evangelize their brands to everyone they know. But even if you've got millions of followers across several social media accounts, the main drawback is that you still don't own or control anything that happens on these channels. For example, you can have a ton of fans on your Facebook page, but if you want all of your followers to see your latest post, you'll need to pay for that privilege with either a boost or a full-blown ad, which can quickly get pretty expensive if you're not careful. Far too many people made the mistake back in the MySpace days of using their profile as a replacement for a proper website and then eventually lost all of their followers overnight after the platform essentially shut down. So while building a strong and engaged fan base on social media should definitely play a key role in your overall strategy, it's not meant as a substitute for everything. At some point, you'll need to drive your followers off social media to a place you control, which leads us to the next essential tool in your online tech stack: the landing page. Now, a lot of people would naturally think the most logical place to send someone after they've followed you on social media would be a website, right? Well, not necessarily. Remember when I said the biggest drawback to social media was that you don't own any of the data, and that if you want all of your followers to see your posts, the social networks were going to make you pay for that? Well, that's where a landing page comes into play. If you can somehow manage to convince your fans to take the next step from following you on your social channels to visiting a place you control, you're going to want to direct them over to a landing page, also known as a lead capture page. The idea here is that you'll offer some kind of free incentive in exchange for their contact information, usually a name and email address at the very least. Once you get them to sign up for your list, you now own and control that data and can communicate with them directly as much as you want without having to spend boatloads of money on advertising just to get your message out. Now, while technically a landing page could be considered a website, it differs in that a landing page just has one job, and that's to get your visitors' contact information so you can start building your database of potential customers. A website, on the other hand, is usually the place where someone would go if they wanted to learn more about what you do and get some of their questions answered in more detail. Since a landing page's main job is to build your list, you'll obviously need some kind of way to communicate with the people that sign up. To do that, you'll need an email marketing service. And no, I don't mean your regular Gmail or Yahoo address or even that trusty old AOL account. Not only does it look more professional sending emails from a branded address, but also the major email service providers will severely limit the number of emails you can send. Gmail, for example, has some pretty strict guidelines when it comes to mass emailing and could even disable your account entirely if your emails get marked as spam or if you've sent a large number of undeliverable messages to invalid addresses. Basically, if your address ends in gmail.com or hotmail.com, there's a pretty good chance that your mass email will never even make it to the inbox. Webmail providers like that are designed for personal use, so when a mass email is sent from one of them, it quickly gets flagged as suspicious and could end up getting your personal email address shut down completely, which would really suck. Now that we've talked about why you don't want to use your webmail provider as your primary email marketing tool, let's talk about what you do want to be using instead. There are several email marketing platforms out there that you've probably heard of, the more popular ones being MailChimp, GetResponse, Constant Contact, Aweber, ActiveCampaign, and so on. Now, all of these platforms have their pros and cons, but one of the biggest things to keep in mind is the price. Usually, these email marketing services will charge a monthly fee based on the size of your list, and in some cases, how many emails you want to send. In other words, the bigger your list and the more you send to that list, the more you're going to have to pay. Fortunately, many of these email marketing providers have some sort of free tier that allows you to start building your list to a limited number of people before making you upgrade to a paid plan. After that, your monthly expense will be determined by the number of people who've signed up and how often you plan on communicating to them. Now, if you're wondering why we're spending so much time on email marketing, well, it's because this is arguably the most important piece of your overall strategy. As I mentioned earlier, anytime you want to communicate with your social media followers, you'll have to spend money boosting a post or setting up a complicated ad campaign, which again can get really expensive if you don't know what you're doing. Also remember, you don't own any of that data or information on your social media followers. So if you close your account or get kicked off, you're pretty much back at square one all over again. An email list, on the other hand, puts you in control by giving you a way to communicate with anyone in your database and even automate the process with a series of pre-programmed email sequences and custom action. You can segment messages to your list based on things like geography, or you can even tag people to where they only get specific emails based on their actions. For example, someone who clicked a particular link in an email you sent on day 3 of your sequence might get a different message than the person who didn't click on that link, and so on. You can also get really detailed reporting on things like who opened what on which day, or who actually read the email all the way through as opposed to someone who just skimmed. At the end of the day, a professional email marketing system will give you way more options for keeping track of your most responsive customers and actually monetizing your list in ways that your personal Gmail or Yahoo account just doesn't allow for at the moment. So in other words, a website is basically a collection of web pages that can be freely navigated by the visitor on their own without any real guidance. But the drawback is that it can be difficult to make a sale since you're leaving the customer to figure everything out themselves, as opposed to a lead capture funnel, which is a collection of web pages that takes the visitor through a predefined path in order to sell a product or service. Okay, if you've made it this far, you're probably beginning to understand the roles each of these tools will play in your overall online strategy. Now, if you were to implement just these core 4 tools, you'll be miles ahead of those that don't. As I mentioned at the beginning, there are an infinite number of other tools you can add to your arsenal, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to developing awareness through social media, driving people to your landing page where you can get their contact info and start building your list, and then nurturing a relationship with your tribe so they ultimately come to know, like, and trust you enough to take you up on anything you produce or recommend. Now, of course, all of these tools can be cobbled together separately, or there are actually a few really great all-in-one platforms out there that do everything, so you're not having to deal with a bunch of tech weirdness when one tool won't play well with another. You want to make it as user-friendly on yourself as possible. I certainly have my preferences and will include links to some of the tools I recommend that can save you a ton of time, money, and stress when you need to start building your online business. So with that, as always, I hope you got some value from this. If so, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to this channel for more tips on getting yourself online easily and affordably. Also, let me know what, if any, of these tools you're using. And if you'd like some help with any of this crazy online business stuff, by all means reach out and I'll be happy to guide you in the right direction. Or my team and I can even set it all up for you if you'd rather have someone else do all the heavy lifting. Either way, we're happy to help you out in any way we can. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.